Right, Martha, overlap in pine. Now, done. On the right, quick march. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, 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 left, left. Right. Order! Out! Right.
Privy Council, International Security, International Representatives, Prime Minister, becoming national government, Ministers of the Crown, King Kingdom, Papala Mekamoy, representatives of LBG, available, Governor of Central Bank, Commercial Bank, Governors, Album and Combank, Bankers of the Crown, Commanders and Soldiers of the Crown, Papala District Workforce, Ramapo Traditional Government, Chiefs, Elders and Leaders, we have a new earth, spiritual government representatives, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Ratification Remembrance Day. You all know the event that took place here at King Square on 21st November 2006 under the Gregorian calendar. July is 23, today is 23rd November, but under our sovereign off-year calendar is 21st Onyx 1623. Since 2007, we've been calling this day our Remembrance Day. But today I have decided to also call it our Ratification Remembrance Day. Sometimes we refer to the day as our Victory Day because the blood that we spilled on that day gave us the most needed victory over our enemy forever. Without blood, there's no victory. There are similar terms we can use, including Confirmation Day, Endorsement Day, Validation Day, Authorization Day, Verification Day, Corroboration Day, and so on. Whatever term we may use to describe the day, the most important thing to note is that this very day, 17 years ago, the universe witnessed the formal ratification of our nation's freedom, independence, sovereignty, and civilization. Everything that we've been fighting for or struggling for since ancient times finally got its endorsement or ratification on this day. The bloodbath of everyone involved in the crisis or revolution already ratified our freedom. There's no need to wait for another ratification from Papua New Guinea or United Nations. What then is ratification? There are two main categories of ratification I'd like to discuss here. One is external or foreign, and the other is self-ratification. Here in Bougainville, Mekamoy Island, we have both options running concurrently. Those under ABG are daily crying to their master PNG to ratify or approve their independence, while those under Mekamoy are working hard day and night, setting up a system to make the independence become a physical reality. External or foreign ratification is also known as foreign approval of your existence. External or foreign ratification simply means that you are a slave or puppet waiting to be released if your master is happy for you. External or foreign ratification means that you are not free, nor independent, nor sovereign. External or foreign ratification means that your existence on the planet depends on your colonizers and your neo-colonizers. External or foreign ratification means that even after your independence has been ratified, you will still remain a puppet or slave of foreign control forever. Just have a look at Papua New Guinea and get your revelations. PNG remains a puppet of Australia's regional sovereignty because Australia ratified PNG's independence in 1975. You see, whoever ratifies your independence remains your boss or master forever. In other words, if you ratify your independence by yourself, you will be your own boss or master forever, not subject to another earthly monster. Therefore, I truly congratulate those of you who chose to follow the self-ratification process with me. What you and I are doing will greatly benefit our people, families, communities, and nation as a whole. we will never be subject to another foreign master because we are already 100% debt-free, independent, and sovereign. Post-crisis. Let me take your memory back to the crisis to explain something I consider very important. Firstly, we all know the agonizing pains and devastating sufferings of war our people were subjected to. Every modern infrastructural development, including buildings, offices, residences, machines, equipment, etc., were destroyed or burned down to ashes. Everything came down to ashes, and we had to restart our lives from ground zero. To restart life, we were given two governing options to choose from: to surrender to the enemy and negotiate our way to freedom, and to remain free, independent, and sovereign, and establish our own system. Those who surrendered to the enemy system were lavished with billions of money, goods, and services, while those who chose not to surrender struggled to survive the day. The two options are very similar to the two options offered to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden: the tree of life versus tree of knowledge, or the narrow way versus the wide way. The wide way has everything you need under the sun, readily available to you, while the narrow way has nothing available except a promise, assurance, or guarantee at the end of the wilderness. You all know how those following the wide way daily mocked, ridiculed, and laughed at you while you were struggling to find money for your school fees, PMV transport fares, etc., etc. Life in the narrow way was very hard, difficult, agonizing, and painful, while life in the wide way was full of fun, money, riches, glory, and honor. Every family, clan, tribe, church, language, village, etc., etc., was divided. Some family members were following the wide way, while the other half of the family were following the narrow way. The choices were real. There was no middle ground. Nothing could be faked. If you want to enjoy the riches, goods, services from the enemy, all you had to do was follow the wide way. And if you want to struggle and wait for the promised assurances and guarantees, you just have to remain faithful, patient, and trustworthy. Either way, your choice was or is important. It reflects on who you are as a person or family. I'm just remembering and recounting before you the events of the past couple of decades, because it's very important to look back and appreciate the events that shaped and molded us to be who we are today. We are who we are today because of the choices we made. Those who follow the wide way are still not able to get independence from Bougainville. The master is not willing to let them go. Although they produced an overwhelming 98% vote for independence, the master still cannot let them go free. The 98% was just a paper nothing, because it's nothing more than a non-binding desire that is forever subject to the sovereignty of the master. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you following the wide way and mocking those who are following the narrow way, I, King David Pei II, today challenge you to get your independence by 2025. Your president has promised to get your independence by 2025, although your master, PNG, has extended it to 2027. And there's every likelihood that your master will extend it to 2030 and keep extending it forevermore. Explain to me why you think your master will ratify your independence in 2025, or 2027, or 2030, or 2050, or 2100. How will you convince your master to ratify your independence? I'm sharing all this info and challenging you because there's no way anyone can surrender to the enemy and expect to be released. I'm challenging them because those who follow the narrow way have now reached the promised land of milk and honey. We are now able to and ready to deliver our payout of freedom, independence, and sovereignty and civilization, while those following the wide way are still waiting for 2025, 2027, 2030, etc., etc. Covenants, seals, and ratification. Our recent seminars have clarified a lot of things about my covenants, seals, and ratification. Therefore, I won't go through it again. I just want to let you know that the blood a shed or split on this day 17 years ago was a form of self-ratification of my own covenants and seals of the covenants. Without self-ratification, there's no power. Therefore, instead of waiting for someone to come and ratify my covenants and seals, I just had to do it myself and game over. This is how I came into this physical material world. You all know the mystery surrounding the coming of Pukeka. And Pukeka does not wait for someone from elsewhere to come and ratify his people's fight or struggle for independence. No, no, no. And Pukeka simply ratifies his own existence as well as the existence of his government, country, and system. That's exactly how I came to ratify the freedom, independence, and sovereignty and civilization of my people and country. It's over. Bougainville, Mekamui, you are now fully ratified as a free, independent, and sovereign nation. Monetary system versus economy. You are now all aware of the differences between monetary system and economy. As you know, the cream of the world control system revolves around those who control the monetary, banking, and currency system. You can read from the media the present wars between the United States and BRICS nations. They're all fighting a war of currency. The US dollar has been the dominant world reserve currency since the end of World War II. The BRICS are now putting up their own world reserve currency, which may either be the Chinese yuan or the Russian ruble. You also know that 99.7% of the central banks on the planet belong to the same group that owns the Federal Reserve. In other words, whoever owns and circulates the world reserve currency becomes the overall boss or controller of the world. Therefore, over the past 20 to 24 years, we focused more on the monetary, banking, currency, finance, trade, and commerce system. We temporarily left economy of Bougainville in the hands of PNG and ABG in order to tackle head-on the cream of the world's control system. It's only now, after fully completing the establishment of our monetary, banking, and currency system, that we are now beginning to focus our attention on funding the economy of our country. The launching of our sovereign UAG products last month signaled the completion of our monetary, banking, and currency system. You can view it on the internet, uagproducts.com, and see that it's still under construction. According to our engineers, they will show me a dummy website by the end of the month to see and check if everything I wanted has been included. If I'm satisfied, I will simply just give my approval so they can upload the final version by the beginning of next month. Hooray, it's all over. As our sovereign currencies begin trading on the FX, we have 1,200 indigenous First Nations currently registered on the rank, which are all ready to begin using our FX platform to convert, exchange, or trade the currencies with ours. Moreover, we also have United Nations affiliated countries like Solomon Islands who are also affiliated on the rank and which are most willing, able, and ready to use our platform for the exchange and trade of their currencies with ours. Thirdly, we have millions of US clients from all over the world who are all willing, able, and ready to commence using our platform to exchange their currencies from BBK or UVG to and from their own respective national currencies. And fourthly, we also have the public at large who are all able and ready to use our platform for all the currency exchanges, conversions, and trades. So from whichever angle you look at it, we are going to cause a massive financial earthquake or tsunami the moment our sovereign UV product is uploaded. And it's already at our fingertips. Therefore, you can be rest assured 100% that our turn to finance the economy has now come. We are now going to snatch the economy from the hands of PNG and ABG and give it back to our people of Bougainville, Mekamui. Same applies to our affiliate countries. We are going to snatch the economy from the hands of foreigners and give it back to the locals so they can all become truly debt-free, independent, and sovereign as well. Economy deals with the livelihood of the people, while monetary system deals with the global control. We now have both. Bougainville history, 1925 and 1990s. You all know that when it comes to the issue of independence, Bougainvilleans have a history of destroying or burning to ashes any infrastructural development that was funded by foreigners. For instance, in 1925, Bougainvilleans destroyed or burned down to ashes every infrastructure that was funded or built by colonial Australia. Again, recently in the 1990s, Bougainvilleans again destroyed and burned down to ashes anything and everything that was funded and built by PNG. In other words, when it comes to the issue of independence, Bougainvilleans are most willing, able, and ready to destroy or burn down to ashes anything that PNG is presently funding through its agent ABG. You see, to date, everyone following the wide way thinks that ABG is the actual government on the ground. But this is far from the truth. You will see in 2025 or 2027, if PNG does not ratify ABG's independence, Bougainvilleans will again be most willing, able, and ready to destroy anything that was funded by PNG and ABG. Fellows, the only thing that Bougainvilleans will not be able to destroy or burn down to ashes in the name of independence are those things or infrastructural developments, etc., that were funded and or constructed by our own money, currency, banks, government, and system. If they were funded by PNG and ABG, history confirms that Bougainvilleans will still destroy or burn them down to ashes in the name of independence. In other words, those of you following the wide way under ABG should understand and never ever mock or ridicule those who are on the side of the Twin Kingdom of Papara Mekamui. Why? Because everything that your PNG or ABG is funding today will still be destroyed or burned down to ashes in 2025 or 2027 when PNG fails to ratify your independence. So those under Mekamui are fully aware that the developments we are going to fund when our UEG Forex is uploaded will never ever be destroyed nor burned down to ashes again in the name of independence. Since we are already free, independent, sovereign, we have already gone past the issue of ratification. It's all past tense now. We won't be destroying nor burning down to ashes our constructions in the name of independence anymore. Only those under ABG will be destroying or burning down their constructions again in the name of independence, since they are still under PNG and they are in a very awkward situation. In other words, as we finance the economy of a country, I'm 100% certain to reconcile and unite all Bougainville under the new system. ABG and Mekamui will be united formally according to the original structures, where Mekamui is the upper house of lords, chiefs, and elders, and ABG is the lower house of representatives. Foreign affairs and immigrations. Ladies and gentlemen, you all know that a lot of PNGians have been residing in King's Square for an extended number of years. Some have lived here for up to 9 years, while others come and go. Many have left their families back home to come and support the system until delivery. They have sacrificed the time, resources, and money to support the system until its time of delivery today. The amazing good news is that we started sending back our PNG governors immediately after our last and final seminar a couple of weeks ago. So far, about 14 of them have left for their home country and provinces. The remaining PNGians and West Papuans, whom we now refer to as landowners, will remain here until our sovereign UEG Forex is uploaded. They will then return to PNG and West Papua with full hands and overflowing. I'm sending them back because my own international funds are now being released to me. I have been waiting for such a time such as this for many years. And when the recent seminars revealed so many things about me, I was put in the situation where I just could not delay your payout anymore. I just have to deliver and deliver only. Therefore, the new arrangements are as follows. As the UEG Forex becomes operational, we are going to upgrade our foreign affairs and immigration services. Therefore, all our clients from PNG, West Papua, and Solomon Islands will be required to come with their respective national passports, visas, and work permits. Our immigration officers will be stamping your passports and visas on arrival at Europa Airport and Quetta Wharf. Final check will be done at Morgan Checkpoint. This is how we will make our independence become a reality. Farm and construction workers. Apart from our own governors, we are also going to start bringing thousands of workers from PNG, West Papua, Solomon Islands, Fiji, Vanuatu, and Isles of the Pacific, including New Zealand and Australia. The first 100 could be coming from PNG sometime in Quotes and Beryl or January and February 2023. Many hundreds and thousands will follow soon after. Selection of workers will be done from our own existing clients and investors. If non-investors want to join our workforce, they must take the first step of faith and open an account in one of our banks, IBOM and Combank, etc. For we will not accept any workers until or unless they prove themselves to be US clients and investors. Screening of workers will be done by our provincial governors in every province of PNG, West Papua, Solomon Islands, and all the rest of them. Workers will be screened against the King's Code of Ethics, covenants, and series of the covenants. Only those who qualify will be allowed to come to Bougainville for work. Everyone who comes for work must have a valid passport, visa, and work permit. All documents will be stamped at the appropriate locations of our immigration officers in Europa and Quetta Wharf. Visas will be valid for 3 months only. In rare cases, visas may be extended by another 3 months. But after 6 months, all visas and work permits will expire and workers must return home swiftly. No one will be allowed beyond 6 months. Moreover, since workers will be our own existing clients, investors, they will be allowed to participate in our internal trade programs and make enough profit for themselves before returning home. They will also use the opportunity to check on the past investments in the respect. In other words, since we already have hundreds of millions of faithful and trustworthy clients or investors around the world, we already have a formidable workforce willing, able, and ready to work and rebuild and reconstruct our island, Bougainville, Mekamui. The same concept applies to our ranked countries. We will coordinate, organize, and send workers and specialists from around the world to you to help rebuild your countries, provinces, districts, villages, etc., etc. The most important thing to know is that we don't have any problems with money anymore. The moment our UV Forex is uploaded, all your funds in IBOM, Combank, etc. will become fully alive, active, and transferable. Wired to you without any delay. Also, since you have access to your funds via MasterCard or Gold cards, etc., you will never ever run out of funds because the system will keep loaning funds to you according to your needs. There's not much difference between our banks and the conventional Rothschild banks. The only difference is that our clients and investors have unlimited funds readily available to them compared to those in the other banking system. Note that in our system, there's no unemployment. For the harvest is plentiful, but workers are few. We will never ever run out of jobs, and we can employ, engage, or contract anyone on the planet who is in need of work. You don't see that under the conventional system. I've been to America and traveled the whole world. They have millions and millions of unemployed and homeless people. They have necessary credentials and education qualifications, but there's no employment, no job opportunities for them. In other words, when the UVGFX is uploaded, the world will begin to see that all its problems of unemployment, homelessness, street begging, crime, suicide, etc., etc., will be resolved once and for all. Now, this may sound impossible to those outside the system who live in an atmosphere of lack and scarcity. However, when you come into the system, you will find that all the answers and solutions for the world are here in the system. We have not left any stone unturned. We understand and see things from the bigger picture and bigger master plan. Not too early and not too late. In summary, I would like to stress the fact that everything we do in the system happens just in time. We are never too early and never too late. For instance, we came into this physical world just in time as prophesied. Nothing happens by luck, nothing happens by mistake, nothing happens by coincidence. Everything happens at the divinely appointed time. Everything we are doing today was prophesied to happen in time immemorial. Even before the foundations of the world, there was a prophecy made on your behalf inside the mind of God, Yahweh, Jehovah, Bektantano, Kopona himself. And when you came into the physical world, there were already prophecies uttered by other people about you. Even though you might not have personally known or heard about those prophecies, you can still be rest assured that someone somewhere had already prophesied about your coming. Let me just give my own example for myself so you can understand what I'm talking about. I came to the physical world on the 11th of July 1964. I didn't know that I was prophesied to be born at this time until I grew up and realized who I really was. I noticed that my people of CY had been prophesying about me even before I was born. For instance, in 1922, they formed the Mumari Association to plan how the pay of king would be ushered in. The chiefs set out the traditional government to make way for the coming king pay, but I did not know that it was me until I realized it. Even in 1980, when the chiefs established the Pemure Association, I still did not know that the association was set out to prepare the legal system of the coming king. It was only when it happened that I realized it as such. For instance, the Bolshevik crisis or revolution happened at just the divinely appointed time. It was not too early nor too late. It broke out to prepare the ground for something that was already in the pipeline. And at the end of the crisis in 1997 and 98, the island was plunged into two governments, not by mistake, nor by luck, nor by coincidence. A military coup happened in October 1996 to divide the leadership, to give favorite chiefs an opportunity to mediate between the leaders, French Ona and Joseph Cowboy, and the PM, Bill Skate of PNG. This is how I came into the picture as the public officer of the association, appointed by the chiefs as a requirement under the IPA. Then, with signatures of our revolutionary leaders, I was able to launch the US Stock system to mediate and find a way to reconcile and unite the governments of French Ona and Joseph Cowboy. I'm just explaining this to remind you again that you are not here by mistake. There's a prophecy for each and every one of you. Your joining me was not a mistake. You are here because you have a prophecy which you may or may not have known yet. But whether or not you have heard of your own prophecy, I'm telling you now that it will become clear as to you very soon, if not already. In other words, all of us, excluding no one, are here for a divinely appointed time and purpose. I have not forced anything to anyone of you. I did not force anyone to join me. I did not and will never join. I will not force anyone to join me because I know that God, Yahweh, Jehovah, Kupuna, Tantanu has already predetermined whomsoever will join up with me at the appointed time. This is how I operate. I did not create the Bolshevik crisis. It came about because it had to. Likewise, I did not force the revolutionary leaders, FO and JK, to break up and plunge the island into two governments. No way. It was predetermined to happen that way so that I would come in as the mediator of the Bolshevik crisis or revolution. Likewise, I did not launch the US system. It was forced by situations and circumstances that time to launch the system in order to find a way around, mediate, reconcile, and unite the island at the appointed time. All I remember is how French Honor demanded that if I get any funds from BC Area Tinto, PNG, New Zealand, Australia, America, Europe, China, World Bank, IMF, UN, or international NGOs, etc., he would wash his hands clean and won't support the mediation program anymore. Thus, my launching of the system was forced by situations and circumstances. That's how I operate. And I only move forward as the system rolls forward according to its perfect timing. I have learned to accept everything that happens because I know that those things are happening in the perfect timing and plan of God, Yahweh, Jehovah Kupunawa Tantanu. For example, I arrived here in Tonu on the midnight hour of November 24, 2004 in the conventional calendar. I had to arrive here at my own promised land of milk and honey at the age of exactly 40 years. Nothing could stop me from arriving here at the age of 40 years. There were so many things that tried to stop me from arriving here, but the fact that I must arrive here at 40 years of age meant that I had to override and overrule everything and everything that tried to stand in my way. 2 weeks after my arrival, a pastor from the United Church, Pastor Chief Haupe, saw a dream or vision where he saw 3 angels singing Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. One angel stood on my left, the other on my right, and the third at the back, and all were singing the same song, first and the last, beginning and the ending, Alpha and Omega. Pastor Haupe shared his dream or vision at the church, and everyone was thrown into a shock. When I was told about the dream or vision, I said, well, I don't demand angels to praise me. I have no control over them. It's their own decision, and they are doing it at their own volition. Likewise, some time ago, one of the pastors, Pastor Sam Mukan, was invited to a golden city, and where he was surprised to see that everyone in that golden city was praising, whispering, pay upe. Even the second time he was invited to that golden city, he saw the same thing happening. That's why they also changed his name from Pastor Mukan to King Priest Sam Mukan. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm only sharing these things because there are some things I have no control over whatsoever. They are just happening because they were already prophesied about and determined to happen as such. For example, some time ago, a series of seminars were conducted here in Tonu City. I did not take part in seminars, but as the seminars continued, the people started to change their mindsets and began praising King Pei Upe. Even the songs were changed to include the name King Pei Upe. When I heard it, it was already late for me to change anything. I could not stop the people from praising worshiping Pei Upe. I said, well, it's the same thing. Just as I'm not able to stop those angels from praising worshiping Pei Upe, I'm also not able to stop these people from doing the same. So what I'm trying to say is that I don't force anything on anyone. Everything happens on its own. For example, some time ago, one of my campus sent me a message on Facebook. He asked me, is it true that the people of Tonu are worshiping you? Unquote. I told him, no, they don't worship Noah Musinku, they worship Pei Upe, Papala Kopunawek Tantano, in the context of Siwa Papala of Bogilwi Mekamui, who is also the same Jehovah Yahweh in the context of Israel. The people of Papala Mekamui of Bogilwi is the same. The God of Papala Mekamui Bogilwi is the same God of Israel. Therefore, do not mix up Noah Musinku and King Pei Upe, for they are two different persons, living in the same house or body. One is natural or physical, and the other is a spirit. Matambo understood and accepted what I explained to him. Ladies and gentlemen, all I'm saying is that there are so many things I have no control over. I only accept them because they happen on their own without my forcing them to happen. As I said above, I did not force nor create the Bolshevik crisis or revolution. I did not tell the revolutionary leaders to plunge the island into two governments. I did not appoint myself to solve the Bolshevik crisis or revolution. I only became the mediator because the situation or the circumstances forced me to become so. Likewise, I did not want to collect funds from the public and launch the US stock system. No, I was only forced by divinely appointed situations and circumstances to launch the system. Likewise, I did not want to establish the Kingdom of Papala. No way. I was only forced by situations and circumstances to launch the Kingdom of Papala to withstand the liquidation program of the government of Papua New Guinea. Likewise, I did not launch the rank system because I wanted to. No way. I only launched the rank because the UN then was mocking and ridiculing me in the media. So I needed to stand up to the mocker by matching, equalizing, and replacing the UN in my mindset. Everything else that happened came in the same way. I established the banks when the commercial banks in PNG were freezing my accounts. I needed to match, equalize, and replace them in my mindset, system, and move on. Same thing applies to the central banks, world banks, and currencies I've established. I only established them to match, equalize, and replace the conventional system with a new system. Same applies to the US gold, our world reserve currency. I only established it in order to match, equalize, and replace the other world reserve currency, USD. Again, everything that happened to date has happened on its own, without my forcing or demanding it. It happens on its own way, and all I do is accept and move on. If they praise worship me along the way, it's up to them. I don't demand the praise and worship. I'm just moving with my original program. If they call me names, accuse me of anything, whether it's good or bad, I still don't worry about that. I'm just moving on. I know that at the right time, all my mockers or ridiculous and haters will turn around and again and be my followers. I've seen that happen again and again. Why should I waste my time trying to stop them? I don't have the luxury of time to spend on thinking about all that is happening around me, whether they hate me or love me. It's none of my concern. All I know is that if they hate me, it's a privilege. And if they praise me, it's also a privilege. Whether positive or negative, light or darkness, peace or war, hot or cold, etc., etc., I am not going to stop and waste my time thinking about them. I have to just move on according to the universal master plan given to me. Conclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I've said enough. I must conclude my speech now. Please understand that last week I did a clearance of some good amount of funds. That's why I started sending our people from PNG back to their home countries and provinces. The second good news is that today, on this very day, as I'm speaking to you, there's a much bigger clearance going on of some substantial amount of funds. It's coming from my trade funds. I want to use these big funds to pay all outstanding fees, costs, internal currency conversions, and also finance infrastructure development of the country. These funds are quite big and will keep us going until the UVG Forex is ready. Although these funds are in the billions of euros, I still regard it as limited funds, which can still run out in time to come. The only things that will never ever run out is the world reserve currency, UV gold, which I have created. It will forever be unlimited. In other words, although I have already big cleared funds in the billions of euros, I still regard it as limited funds. My eyes are not on big funds, but on unlimited funds, which I can keep creating and circulating to our people for world transformation and establishment of the kingdom, the system, the authority of heaven on earth. I hope you understand. Finally, but not the least, following this week's clearance of funds, and especially upon the release of our unlimited funds coming through the world reserve currency, UVG Forex, I will start to use my long-awaited rod of iron. I have never used my rod of iron, but the situation and circumstances have now forced me to start using it. Therefore, you can be rest assured that as of this week's clearance, as I begin using my rod of iron, life in Tonduki Square, CY, South, and Bougainville as a whole will begin to change dramatically. With the iron rod, I'm ready to whip and crack the governments, the nations, the kingdoms into pieces like clay pots. Recently, I told you that all power and all authority has now been given unto me in heaven and on earth. And I also said that I'm now overriding and overruling everything. And today, as I close my speech, I'm telling you that I'm now ready to use my rod of iron. I will start using here in Kiskoye, then move on to the district, then to the rest of the island, then to as the system rolls on. I will extend my rod of iron to the nations of the world. It's the only way to make way where there is no way. The surrounding hamlets, villages, etc. will begin to see things they had not seen before. People who need to be rehabilitated will be forcefully rehabilitated. In some cases, the entire families will also be put into rehabilitation programs so they can sort themselves out while in our rehabilitation centers. I will pay the full cost of the rehabilitation. Drunkards, drug addicts, marijuana smokers, etc. will all be affected. It's all for the good of everybody, both here in Kings Square, CY, as well as all Bougainville and the nations of rank. This is my assurance to you all. As you get your funds and move on to various districts, provinces, and countries, I will be following you up with funds. All I need is your bank accounts where I will be sending your funds whenever you need it. That's all from me today. Happy Ratification Remembrance Day. Thank you.